Tax administrators, professionals in taxation business want government to institute an efficient tax system that will build on a good legal framework, which will in the long run increase tax base and revenue generation. The call was made at a tax business series put together by detailed commercial solicitors themed Finance Act 2023, implications for the tax and fiscal outlook of the new administration and economy. Speaking further at the event, partner PricewaterhouseCoopers, Mrs. Siri Agbeyi, applauded government's efforts aimed at striking a balance between the fiscal and stability and economic growth while addressing emerging challenges across the globe. Associate partner at Details, Mr. Anthony Eziamama, also wants government to introduce policies based on long-term returns to capital, which will encourage ultimate productivity.
The government should focus on taxing consumption more than production. If you leave so much focus on taxing production, what that does is that it causes a rise in inflation and production of goods and services. So government needs to work on that.
We also looked at how this is impacting on the inflow of investment. So some of the issues around perhaps tax refunds, which are not happening as we should see them, trying to address those at source is critical. Otherwise, we will be increasing the debt of the nation because we owe a lot more private sector players. So there are certain amendments that have to be done within the Act to make that happen. We have to harmonize our tax system as well so that there isn't this multiple level of taxation. We need to go back into the Constitution as well and look at the powers of all of these different tiers of government.
The government is listening. The government is listening to the business community. They are listening to the organized private sector. And we could see that in the executive order that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu signed upon assumption of office, suspending the implementation of the Finance Act of 2023, pending further stakeholder engagement with a view to having it resume on the 1st of September 2023. That tells everyone that they care about business, they want businesses to grow, they want businesses to thrive.
Our nation's stocks were all 5 months high, and the yuan extended a sharp rally today with speculations that the Bank of Japan could take another small step towards dismantling its super easy stimulus policies. Now, MSCI's broadest index of Asian Pacific shares outside Japan fell 0.4%. Japan's Nikkei opened 1.4%, though bank shares surged to its 8-year high on prospects of rising interest income at lenders. S&P 500 futures stacked on 0.1%, Nasdaq 100 futures added 0.2%, helped by an after-market jump in shares of Intel, which reported a surprise quarterly profit. In the currency market, the yuan was holding about 0.5% higher at 138.83 per dollar in early trade. Euro slid nearly 1%, and NOS losses at $1.09. US 10-year yields rose 16 basis points and broke above 4% steady at 4.01% in Asian trade. Russian President Vladimir Putin says Russia's African trade reached $18 billion in 2022, which was necessitated by the first Russian-African summit in Sochi, Russia in 2019. He said this at the ongoing Russian-African Summit and Economic and Humanitarian Forum in St. Petersburg. President Putin said the Russian government's businesses and public were sincerely interested in further deepening multifaceted trade, investment, and humanitarian ties with Africa. Russia's trade with African countries in agricultural products increased by 10%, amounting $6.7 billion, and had already demonstrated record growth between January and June 2023 by 60%, while stating that Russia exported 11.5 million tons of grain to Africa in 2022 and almost 10 million tons in the first 6 months of 2023. Meanwhile, the Afri-Exim Bank have announced that credit limit of about $30 billion to support Africa's investors willing to exploit the opportunities in Russia. And finally, the European Central Bank has raised its key interest rate by 25 basis points to curb inflation, diverging from a U.S. Federal Reserve's decision to pause its own hikes. The latest move completes a full year of consecutive trade hikes by Eurozone after ECB embarked on its journey to tackle high inflation last July. After the rate hike, the interest rates on the main refinancing operations and the marginal lending facility and on deposit facility will be increased to 4.25%, 4.5%, and 3.75% respectively, with effect from August the 2nd. The country's export authorities are set to explore opportunities in the outsourcing sector of the economy. This is against the backdrop of huge potentials in outsourcing, with quotes across sectors including financial services, logistics and customer support, amongst others. Lara Folayan reports.
Outsourcing involves making use of a third party to perform a business task or function that could have been done by the primary organization. Its practice is carried out by various establishments for reasons including wanting to cut down on cost and time, getting the best quality service or product, as well as inadequate resources to internally carry out the activity being outsourced for several reasons. Outsourcing in Nigeria is carried out in various services including financial advertising, courier, customer service, and logistics, amongst others.
They get trained on all this.
The export promotion authorities see huge opportunities here and want them thoroughly harnessed.
We are moving gradually and focusing more on export of services because an area that has been neglected for quite a while, and it is a cash cow. It is a place we can get, an area or a sector we can get high revenue in terms of foreign exchange earnings. So, and that's why we are doing this. Hopefully at the end of this conference we should be able to chart a roadmap that we can implement in the services sector.
The country's population, low cost of labor, time zone, and English-speaking abilities are seen as qualities that make it good for outsourcing activities. The industry is being described as one with high revenue potentials in billions of dollars.
If our services sector is well harnessed, we can even earn more than the $4.8 billion US we are earning from our products. So we are looking at almost, because we have to start, so we are looking at almost the same amount of dollars we are earning from the product sector.
The global spending for outsourcing is predicted to touch $731 billion this year, and as the country works towards getting its market share of this projection, experts advise that care be taken in ensuring that it is done right with clear set out goals to avoid it becoming a drawback for businesses. Lara Folayan, TVC News, Abuja.